So, recently I went on a trip to Las Vegas, right? My wife and I drove all the way from our home in Texas to Las Vegas. And as we drove this trip, okay, many, many, many miles, like very long way. I think it was like, I don't know, 1,000 miles each way or something. But it wasn't until we got almost to Las Vegas we stopped. And we, of course, we stayed over the night at a hotel and campground and stuff. Well, we got out on the second day of the trip. And we went into this little rest area. It was a Willow Bay Lookout. And you're standing there in this parking lot. And you're looking out over this area. And you begin to feel how small you really are. How insignificant you really are. In the grand scheme of things, you're just a fly on the wall. And I got to thinking about that, how we were only like 30 miles from Las Vegas. The place where everybody is a high roller, everybody's a big dreamer. Everybody is like somebody, right? But then there's this place that reminds you of just how small you really are. But it wasn't the only time during this trip that I was reminded of just how small I really was in the grand scheme of things. I remember it well, heading out to Rachel, Nevada, off the extraterrestrial highway, which I would recommend the little alien to anyone. But I was on a trip to see what I could of Area 51, because I'm a fan of it. And once again, standing out there in the valley, Tickaboo Valley, around the Joshua trees at the black mailbox, it's really not black. I had another feeling about just how small my ass really was. And I'm a big old boy. It's a reality check that in the grand scheme of the universe, we're really a nobody. I'm a nobody, you're a nobody. Was it the great writer Emily Dickinson? She said, I am nobody. Who are you? Are you a nobody too? Did you ever hear that? Surely you've read this. It's like one of the smallest like proses of anybody's ever written, and it's so simple, right? It's so simple. And I come on. Okay, look, I'll just read it to you. I am nobody. Who are you? Are you nobody too? There's a pair of us. Don't tell. They'd advertise, How dreary to be somebody. How public, like a frog, to tell one's name, the livelong June, to an admiring bog. It was Emily Dickinson, who lived way back in 1830. Maybe we should all just be a nobody too. And be okay with that. I am A-okay. Even though I live a very public life, I am A-okay with being a nobody. But being a nobody in my business doesn't bring you any money. It takes money to survive. And we all need a little bit of money here, a little bit of money there. We got to pay our bills, right? But do you always have to be famous to get it? I honestly hope I'm never famous. I do. I could live my whole life and be okay with being a nobody too. But unfortunately, I'm a journalist and I'm an entertainer. I'm just some old hack that rambles now on a podcast, and I also do YouTube, and I do coaching, creative coaching, and some people call it life coaching, but it's more creative coaching. I do these things because I enjoy it. Not because I want to be famous, because I really enjoy it. You know, there's something to be said about living life just for the enjoyment, the pleasure of it all. The just simple act of being. Do we all have to feel big all the time? Why do we always have to be right? I look around at politics in America, right? All these fucking people running around trying to be right. Republicans all want to be right. Democrats all want to be right. Well, what about the people like me and you that are in the middle? The people who say, well, this side has their points and that side has their points, and neither one of them know what the fuck to do. You know, that's real. That's real. That's real. And I think that you and I are people too. And I think that we know how small we really are. We're not going to go to the Tikaboo Valley. We're not going to go to Willow Bay and look out at that and think, oh my God, what a big development this could be, and my name will be all over it. Yeah. Yeah, we're not going to do that. We're actually going to sit there and say, I'm pretty fucking small. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. You see, being small and feeling it and recognizing just how small you are is a beautiful thing. Because it helps us stay in our perspective. It helps us realize our place in life. It helps us understand who we are. Now, of course, there's always going to be somebody bigger than you, you know? I told somebody this the other day, one of my clients. I told him, I said, you know what's funny about this? There's always going to be somebody better than you. And there's always going to be somebody replace you. We're all replaceable. And the person you're trying to imitate is already on their way to being replaced. In 10 years, nobody will know who they are. Do you want that? It makes you feel good for a minute. It doesn't make you feel good for a lifetime. I can tell you from experience. I was at the pinnacle of my career, at the very point of my career, working with an organization that I knew I couldn't go any fucking higher in my career. And then one day, yeah, it ended. I had to go back to just being a schmo, being just a regular guy. I didn't know how to handle it. One day I was walking tall. Oh, layoffs come along. It happens in the media business. What are you going to do now, Mr. Laid Off Journalist? Layoffs happen all the time. Companies get bought out. Budgets get cut. I mean, it happens. It happens in my field. It happens in your field. It happens everywhere. Every July, we just come to expect it. Then, who are you? You're a nobody too. And then for a little bit, I struggled with being a nobody too. I struggled with this. Then I read Emily Dickinson from 1830 or whenever it was. Said, I'm nobody. Who are you? Are you a nobody too? Then life has a way of dishing out these little subtle reminders that tell us, you're a fucking nobody. You're a fucking nobody. And then it has a way of reminding you that that's okay. Because you're just taken up in the beauty of the world. The land, the sky, the mountains, the hills, the grass, the prairie, to the oceans white with foam. Wherever you are in the world, you can be a nobody. Now, whether you've looked at the mountains in Afghanistan or the canyons of the West in America or the sea, no matter where you're at, you can feel small and be okay with it. And being a nobody isn't bad. It's kind of cool. It's kind of relaxing. And then there's a certain liberation that says when you're a nobody too, like Dickinson put it, that you can just accept that and walk with it and be comfortable with it. Because being nobody is often what matters. It's what this world needs. This world needs a few less populists and a few more nobodies. Did you get that? If you've made it all the way through this episode of this little short podcast I do, I hope you've walked away with that. That if you were nobody too, it's okay. You'll survive. You'll get through. It'll happen. Just give it some time. Because being nobody never killed anybody. Unless they allowed it to. So, if you're thinking that you're a nobody, maybe you should think that you're a nobody and it's okay to be a nobody. I'm Matt. Thanks for joining me.